Hey everybody, I'm Brian with Aromacup.com, and the coffee question of the day is, can I use CBTL coffee and tea pods with my Starbucks Verismo single-serve coffee machine? All right, so this question was submitted to us by a YouTube user, so thanks for submitting the question. And all right, so here's the quick answer. The answer is no, you probably shouldn't do this, and I'll tell you the reason why. The other answer to that is that yes, you actually sort of can, but let me tell you first off why you shouldn't use these pods. Now this right here, I have a CBTL pod right here and it's ready for brewing, but we've cut one open for you just to show you it's the same pod, chai tea pod right here. We've cut it open just to show you the innards right here, and what we have here is this plastic sort of filtration system. It sits on top of the tea, and so that is very different from the Starbucks pod. Because over here on the Starbucks Cafe pod, we've emptied out this espresso pod that we have right here. You don't have that plastic filtration system on the top. And you do have a filter down here on the bottom. There's also a plastic filter system down here on the bottom of the CBTL pod. But you notice you don't have that on the top of this espresso pod, and that's going to be the same for the other Cafe pods. So as a result, you probably don't want to do this, but I'll tell you what, just for fun, let's go ahead and try it anyway and see what happens, because as I've said in some of our other videos, at the making of this video, there's no tea pods available at this time for the Starbucks Verismo coffee machines. So I have a Verismo 585 right here. Let's give it a try and just see what happens, because I'm kind of interested to see what happens here. So we're going to take this pod, because you're going to notice, this is the other thing I should mention, just compare these pods side by side. This is a milk pod for the milk Cafe pod. This is a CBTL pod. They're pretty much exactly the same size. They look just about identical. So except for the innards, they're pretty much the same. So let's see what happens. We're going to pop this into the machine. It slid right in. Close this up. And let's go ahead and we're going to do a brewed cycle here because this is tea. We'll just try the brewed cycle. So I'm just going to go ahead and run a brewed coffee cycle here. Again, there's not a tea button on the face of the 585, but let's just run a brewed coffee cycle. All right, and we're off. Let's see what happens. There you go. It is working. And the machine is definitely not coughing or making any crazy sounds, so that too is also pretty good. I would hate for the machine to blow up as a result of this, obviously. But this seems to be working just fine. So you may not necessarily want to do this, and this certainly is not something that Starbucks has told us that you should be doing, obviously. So, you know, this is not a factory standard recommended option for the machine. But because somebody was wondering about this, we thought, yeah, we might as well give it a try and see what happens. Now, the thing I didn't do before I started running the machine was run a rinsing cycle, but I've talked about that in plenty of our other videos. You can do that anytime you want. That looks pretty good. I will say that I'm seeing kind of a little bit of tea residue on the top right here. And that could be maybe some ground tea that made its way through or something like that, but let's see what it tastes like. Yeah, it's not bad. It tastes like chai tea. So it worked. As I say, there's a little bit of tea grounds on the top right there, but this may be different depending on if you make use of a CBTL coffee pod or something like that. Now, remember, if you do something like this, you void the warranty on your machine, but you know, we thought, why not give it a try? It was submitted by a fan here on YouTube, and we thought, hey, let's give it a swing and see what happens. So there you go, guys. You can make use of a CBTL pod in your Starbucks Verismo single-serve coffee machine. Should you? Probably not. Remember, it's going to void your warranty, and we don't want to tell you to do anything that could void your warranty, but there's your answer, and hope that's been helpful to you guys. As always, I'm Brian with Aromacup.com, and enjoy your cup.